Okay, today we're going to look at sketchbook layout and composition. Tip 1 is to use a limited amount of colours when designing your sketchbook page. Here we have 3 examples. This does not mean that you can't use different tones of colour though, in fact quite the opposite. I encourage the use of multi-tones of colour on a sketchbook page. Here we have a colour composition using blue and orange, complementary colours. We also have light tones of blue and a yellow-orange. This makes for a good colour composition and gives us a greater range of values. Similarly, here we have another example with purple and green being the main colours. Different tones of purple and a light green again make for a great colour composition. So let's have a look at the colour wheel. Tip 2 is to always use the colour wheel, and on the left here we see a classic classroom colour wheel. We spoke earlier about orange and blue being complementary colours, and we can see clearly here this is because they're opposite each other on the colour wheel. The same can be said for red and green, purple and yellow. On the right, however, we have a colour wheel showing different tones or values. We can again use blue and orange as our main colours, but if we go up and down the tones, or values as they're called, we have a greater range and depth to our colour composition, and our sketchbook pages will undoubtedly look good for using this. Okay, so let's now look at composition and layout. Here we have a classic sketchbook page. It has a good balance and a good feel to the pages, and that's because we have a balance between the images and text. The image on the left hand side here is balanced by the text on the right, and conversely the image above on the right is balanced by the text on the left, and so on. On this side we have image, 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 all on the left hand side, but mostly writing on the right, which again gives us a good composition. These 2 pages are examples of 2 important rules that artists, designers and photographers use in layout and composition. These 2 rules are called the rule of thirds and the visual triangle. We're going to talk about these in our upcoming video. So here we have an A3 sketchbook page, and I'm going to illustrate the example of the rule of thirds using this black strips of sugar paper. And all I'm going to do is divide the page up into thirds, horizontally and vertically. Try and make it fairly even. And this has given me a standard compositional technique that artists and designers use and photographers use every day. Now, the rule of thirds basically works like this. If we place anything on these intersections, so here, here, here or here, then visually it will look pleasing to the eye and our eye will move to this area of the paper. So I've completed a drawing of a tribal totem, and this is going to go on my sketchbook page, and I'm going to place it over this side of the paper. Now I've not placed it in the middle, and I've not put it right over to this side. I've placed it on that line, okay? Because I know the rule of thirds, and I know if I place something visually there, it's going to help me compose the page and make the page look good. Once I've got my image there, I'm going to decide to place my title over this side. I'm going to give myself a bit of space, maybe go somewhere about there. Okay. I have information, which also I have already mounted, and this information is on my tribe, like the information you've got in your sketchbooks, And I can now start to think about how I'm going to place this information. There's a nice compositional technique happening here where I've got a repetition of 3 things here, 3 sections if you like, and over here I've got my image. I have got another piece of writing. I'm thinking to myself, now where would this be placed? So I'm just going to move the picture up slightly. It's still on that line, but now I feel that a piece of writing just underneath here is actually quite a nice balance to the page. And we can see there is a balance to the page. It feels like there's a balance to the page. I want to talk to you about another couple of ways of doing this. This is the rule of thirds, but I also want to talk to you about the visual triangle. So there's more than one way of obviously arranging our page. Okay, so the visual triangle, another approach to developing a good sketchbook page that's well balanced. Again, I'm going to start with my biggest image first. This is my totem design, and I'm going to place it in the side of the page here. Now I'm going to bring my title in. I'm going to place this somewhere about there at the top, and finally I've got a smaller research image to go over here, and you can see that I'm forming a triangle, okay? From here to here, there to there, and there to there. This is my triangle, okay? Once I've got that, I can form another triangle quite quickly with my written information. There'll be some movement, you know, trying to fit the different sections in place, but they will end up balancing the page because of the visual triangle, okay? So here's my first triangle, and you could say there is almost another triangle which is kind of offset there. But again, a really nice, well-balanced page. All I need to do to improve this now is to work on these areas of negative space in the background, and we'll cover that in a later tutorial.